The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on and they get.
He missed the complete. He's crazy stuff.
Side Freitas is on the grass on the infield floor. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
The Ming, the House of Medici, the clan of the Great Khan. Add to these historic dynasties two more, Errol Num and the Mama Jean Racing Team. For those latter two editions, Season 11 earned them their fourth Absolute Beginner League's Formula Neagle Championship. This afternoon, the ABL's Formula Neagle begins its 12th season at Watkins, Glen, and all the action can be seen live as it happens here on the Global Sim Racing channel. From the Empire State, welcome to GSRC's Countdown to Green. Happy to be back for another season, and way up in the press box to bring you our Bird's Eye View is yours truly, Bill Soupson, joined by Adam Young. Turning the knobs and pushing the sliders is the hardest working man in sim race broadcasting, our director, Joe Peak. And the cameras at his disposal have been located, aimed, zoomed, and focused by GSRC's camera guru, Dougie Beard. Now, if you brought cyberspace into your place, then over the next 15 streamy award-worthy minutes, GSRC will bring you all the storylines, all the stats and facts you'll need to fully appreciate the 70 minutes of Skip Barber simulated racing that will immediately follow. Well, we'll review what happened in Season 11 a little later in the countdown, but right now, I feel like a kid at Christmas Eve, anxious to unwrap his presents and talk about Season 12. Fans of Formula Neagle will remember that the last time this series visited Watkins Glen, it was the opening race of Season 10 when Tuan Tran got the win, but more importantly, it marked the worst result ever for Errol Num. It took the Roland Estonian all season long to finally overcome that 53rd place result at the Glen on the way to his third of 4 championships. But Adam, I digress. Let's get back to the now. Season 12, Round 1, and Watkins Glen.
Yeah, that was such a crazy race a couple months back, seeing that and everything that happened a year ago. But hey, of course, we're back at Watkins Glen. Of course, we're running the classic configuration, also known as the Cup configuration here. Of course, this is the configuration the NASCAR Monster Cup Energy Series and the rest of the NASCAR Series run here at Watkins Glen. We're not using the boot here for today. Located in Watkins Glen, New York. Initially, if you or like Soup, he probably remembers when Watkins Glen was mostly public roads that were just used kind of like for the race course around, and went into the village and everything else. Lots of cool pictures out there. Most of them are black and white. In 1956, a permanent circuit was opened and eventually also hosted, things like the U.S. Grand Prix for Formula One and everything else. But since about 1971, the format of the track has mostly remained the same, even though it went through a pretty big renovation back in the early 90s. Of course, some of that was in relation to also tragically losing J.D. McDuffie here in a NASCAR wreck back in 1992. Now, of course, the track also hosted Music Fest, kind of like COTA in that regard. But, of course, here today we're running it with the racetrack with the Skip Barber cars, 2.45 miles at 3.94 kilometers with about 7 corners. It is going to be a drafting track here because a lot of road guys will tell you this is pretty much the oval of road course racing, just because, well, hey, you're mostly turning right most of the way around this place here, Soup. And of course, with that, we'll go ahead and jump on board the GSRC Skippy and take a lap around Watkins Glen.
All right, we've got Samuel Ryman in the GSRC Skippy, so let's do a lap around Watkins Glen. We're going to plunge steeply downhill into turn 1, which is called the 90. This is easily the most important corner on the track, but also a good passing zone. You'll see lots of runoff to your left, but it's still possible to push too hard, understeer, and lose tons of time. And that's why this turn is so critical, because as we head up the S's, you'll notice we never lift off the gas. Whatever momentum you carry or don't carry off of turn 1 is going to haunt you all the way to the carousel. Once you hit the top of the hill, here's where it gets really interesting. These cars carry a huge draft around here, and any driver within half a second of you is going to be able to pull alongside and possibly even attempt to pass. Expect drivers to have to think strategically if they don't want to have to swap places back and forth every lap. Now we tackle the carousel. This corner is almost a full 180 degrees, and it's got quite a lot of banking. But because of how long it goes on, you really don't want to stamp on the power too soon, because once again, you'll understeer off into the grass on the exit. This track is so simple, and this car lacks so much power, it's all about carrying every bit of momentum out of every corner around here. Now comes Indianapolis. You won't scrub off a whole lot of speed, and you need to be as precise as you can on the apex to really use that groove. Don't put your wheels in the dirt because the walls get very tight here. And finally, there's the last turn, which starts to feel like a street course with the way you have to take it right up to the tire barrier. But if you manage not to plow into that, all you need to do is straighten the car and carry it to the line as you finish a lap around Watkins Glen.
The drivers will be barefoot today, racing without the boot as we take a lap around Watkins Glen. Okay, let's take a look at the final point standings from season 11. Now, he earned 7 of 8 poles, picked up 3 wins on the way to his 4th Drivers' Championship, his 3rd in a row. Now, unless you haven't been paying attention to anything we've talked about so far in the Countdown to Green, you know I'm talking about Bushfink Yellow's Errol Num. In 2nd place, matching Num with 3 wins, was Tuan Tran, and he was the Season 6 champ. Tran racing, of course, for Mama Jean Racing with 2 wins and 7 podiums. DVR 2 Stupid Dogs, David Third Degree Burns, finishes 3rd and is poised as a serious Season 12 championship threat. Now, the letter C wasn't just used for his initials. Christian Kabanka gets a 3rd C for consistency. 8th, 6th, 5th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 5th. Earned the Haas CCP Skippy driver 4th place. Pierce Shortfield Cocky ran up front in almost every race. Only bad luck or poor fuel calculations kept the Draco Racing driver from finishing even higher on the overlay. Let's look at the team championship. Tuan Tran and Bastian Hausman won championships in season 6 and 7. And then they were racing for 2B1 Racing at that time, and then 2 more in season 10 and 11 for Mama Jean Racing. David Third Degree Burns and Vincent Bream have team titles for season 5 and 9, and fell just a handful of points short of winning their 3rd. Errol Num has never had much help from his partner, so he was denied his first team championship. Bushfink Yellow had to settle for 3rd. Mikael Hofladezen and Andrew Leach might have the strong enough 1-2 punch to steal the Season 12 title. Christian Kabanka ran a solo effort for Haas in Season 11. So, Adam, we've talked about the track, reviewed the last season, gone over the points. Now let's look at the specifics for this afternoon's event.
Yeah, and I got to go back and correct something on my own self here just a few minutes ago, Soup, because I said that we're running the Cup configuration here. We're running, the classic configuration, which is pretty much a Cup configuration, except we don't have an inner loop, so there is no chicane going down the backstretch here today. Of course, we're back at it with the Formula Neagle Absolute Beginners League here today. We're starting a new season, and it's a shorter season, only 7 rounds in this one, because, hey, we're going to try to squeeze this thing in before the holidays. So round 1 of 7 with zero, nada drops. We're going 70 minutes here for today. These are open setups here, and we're anticipating 2 stops for fuel. Not too surprising considering, in fact, Watkins Glen, you're on the gas most of the time. There's going to be a 24 incident limit, and there are no fast repairs with these cars. In Soup, we have seen that time and time again. Get some of these guys out, and Watkins Glen has been a place where we've seen that historically, when people ended up getting odd man out as far as incidents and everything else.
Well, we've talked about that. We mentioned that there is no inner loop. That's going to kind of change the feel of the carousel. We'll talk more of that in a minute. Let's go ahead and look at the weather right now. Adam, what are we in for? It looks kind of cloudy out there.
I've been doing all the weather all morning, man.
I know you have.
All right, hey, 65 degrees right now. You're right. It's cloudy, overcast. Winds out of the north at about 6 miles per hour. So with the winds out of the north, if I can remember right on this track, I believe that is going to be pushing them down the backstretch. So that in combination with the draft, they're going to be moving pretty quick.
Now, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about pit lane. There's 2 pit stops. Pitting's always really important. How's the pit lane here at Watkins Glen?
Well, that's where sometimes things can get interesting. You're going to have to communicate, especially considering the fact that it's going to be a drafting track with these Skip Barber cars. We're going to have to communicate on pit entry, especially if you're in traffic, and on pit exit, you almost get dumped out in the racing lane pretty quick. So, and not to mention pit exit itself, before you even have open racetrack, can be tough. People can and have tried to push a little too hard to hit that pit wall.
Now, it's a 10-minute qualifying session out there. Let's see maybe how they stand right now. Let's take a peek. We talked about Aero Num is winning 7 of 8 poles last time. Look at that, Adam. Sure enough, there he is again, sitting up on top.
Yeah, no surprise at all. Euro Num, I think he was 8th on the speed charts in a practice, but at the same time, drafting is so big of a role. In fact, one thing, despite even Euro Num being on top right now, we're seeing differences in times of anywhere from a second to 2 seconds between practice times and qualifying times, with the qualifying times being slower, which also leads to just how much draft is going to play a big role here for today. And we're seeing it with Euro Num being 8th on the speed charts in practice, and now on top of the speed charts in qualifying.
Yeah, let's talk about the inner loop that is gone. We mentioned this a little bit. That means it's a full speed. The cars will be at top speed heading into the carousel. That's our passing zone now.
Yeah, tell you what, let's go over to Tuan Tran here real quick. Tuan Tran's hitting the backstretch now, and with Tuan, we'll see just how fast he's able to get up to speed here, and what kind of speed he's able to hit going down the backstretch. And this is going to be the fastest part of the racetrack. With solo right now, he's hitting about 121 miles an hour going into the carousel, and that's going to be a place where, if you're brave enough, you can get that car to stick on the outside, maybe get a good run, and be able to do something heading down almost into this kind of short stretch here before you head into, I believe that's turn 5 coming up.
Now, something that's going to be a little unusual for the absolute beginners is we have a 70-minute race and a relatively short track and a really large grid. I think we're looking at lap traffic being an issue.
Absolutely, which will also play a role too, considering the fact if we end up with packs. We all know you watch, if you're a fan of oval racing and you watch tracks like Daytona and Talladega, what kind of mess that sometimes lap traffic can cause. The big packs of cars, and that could be a situation here for today, because the lap traffic themselves, they may be trying to race for position themselves when these leaders come up on them. So the good thing about this is that Watkins Glen is wide in places. You don't want to catch that lap traffic, say, up through the S's or anything like that. But it could make for some hairy situations as we go to the later part of the race.
And there are a few things that I can talk about with any kind of expertise, but I can tell you this from a backmarker's perspective. It's one thing to be able to let the leader by, or maybe 2 cars by. It's a total different animal when you're a backmarker and all of a sudden you're trying to get out of the way of a 9-car train coming around. So hopefully it'll break up a little bit before we get there. Now, before we go to the grid, I have some sad news that I have to report here. I'm sad to report that iRacing community lost a iRacing member, Andy Morgan, who suddenly passed away on Tuesday night. Now, Andy played a large role in the early stages of the ABL, hosting races and practices, and was always a friendly voice on TeamSpeak. His passing has touched many of the ABL members. On a personal note, I had several pleasant interactions with Andy a few years ago when I was a series manager for the MX5 World Tour, and he was racing in that. I remember him racing an hilarious cowhide painted car with the local dairy as a sponsor. Andy was 63 years old. Our thoughts and prayers go out to his family. So, to celebrate his life, let's do something he loved to do. Let's go sim racing, and that's what we're going to do right now as we get round number 1 of season 12 of the Absolute Beginners Formula Neagle underway. We have a large grid today, and it looks like qualifying is just about done, so we're going to go to the grid to make sure that Adam and I get our GSRC bonus for getting through this. Let's take them 10 at a time. Errol Num and Vincent Bream. How about that? Sitting in the second position. Row 2, Tuan Tran and Diego Francisco in fourth position. Veteran Pierce Cockey and Bastian Hausman. Philip, row 3. Row 4 is Patrick Priest and David Third Degree Burns. Jefferson Padavani and Christian Meese go in row 5.
Yeah, how about Vincent Brim up there? Of course, he showed some speed right at the tail end of last season. Johan Vanderbilt starting 11th. Oliver Kemset, that's a new name for the series here, starting in 12th. Mikkel Engstrom starting in 13th. Mark Figueroa starting in 14th. Ludwig Sauer, 15th position in the inside of row 8. Neil Bamber starting in row 8 alongside him. Jochen Lundgren in 17th. Henrik Kamara, looking for good things out of Henrik this season, starting at 18th. Ricardo Margarita, 19th. And Michelle Rugenbrink starting in 20th.
Hidden Blackjack, Alva Verde, the double duck spot, Jacob Younger. Next row, Liam Quinn and Josh Brain. Cooper Collier is back inside of Leo Miranda. Michael Hofflandaisen way back in 27th with Frederick Nektum outside of him. Rob Adams in 29th and Andy Bonar in 30th. Adam?
Yeah, we're going to go up to row 16 now. In row 16, 31st position, Julian Ojen. Kevin McKnight starting 32nd. Paulo Prito, 33rd. Richard Tam, 34th. Kevin Mills, 35th. Timothy Roman in 36th position. Austin Espetti, 37th. Darren Kuhn in 38th. Arnaldo Petkov in 39th. And Mark Riddell in 40th.
41st is Christopher Hancock. Rodrigo Fiera back in 42nd position. Edgar Sancinelli and Guillermo Barros behind them. Diego Pierce, Roger Pritkin. Tony Hayes racing with us today. Michael Constantini, Tommy Tao, Didier Smith in 50th. I'll just take these last ones here. Andy Moore, Scott Whitestein, Tony Matthews, and Daniel Bennett. 54 names on the entry list. 52 of them all 54 put in qualifying times. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
talk about lack traffic, huh?
A big name for me missing off that list, Christian Kabenka, not here today.
Yeah, we talked about him and his consistency. No dropped races, so that's gonna hurt with his championship chances. Okay, let's get season number 12 underway under kind of cloudy skies here in New York. All the attention is going to be on the Roland Estonia sitting up there in the very front row, and then Adam talked about it. Vincent Bream in the second spot. It's been a long time since we've seen him so far up on the starting grid. You can hear the engine start to harmonize. Gather up the chickens, take cover behind the cows, because the horses are out of the barn, and the Roland Estonian leads the stampede the cards down into the first right-hander. Vincent Bream tucks in second. Tuan Tran in the purple and black Mama Jean car in third. Diego Francisco, a newcomer, in fourth position. Let's see what he has to do. And, of course, veteran Pierce Cockey rounding out your top 5.
And do have at least one accident going on in the back of the pack here, but other than that, I think just about everybody's gotten through clean. It was amazing to see about the first top 10, 15 cars immediately almost get into single file and get through the first couple of corners okay, but now we're on the backstretch with Euro Num going 3 wide. 3 wide.
They didn't waste any time. My goodness, how about we bring it in another car as they are flying in formation right now. 2 by 2 with one in the back. Leading them down into the carousel, that is Vincent Bream. On the high side, Tuan Tran, who relegated back to third position right now, is the 78 machine of Errol Num, but he's fighting back. I don't think Errol wants to be this close. This is the kind of racing that got him in trouble last time he was here. Way too close as Num is boxed in front, back, and to the left. He's able to keep going. My goodness, how tight can it be? Newcomer behind him. They've got to worry about a name they don't know about, and that's Francisco.
Well, it seems like at least the front runners here get through clean. I don't think there's any other way to describe that first lap as far as, especially down the backstretch, better than just chaos. I mean, all through the field, 3, 4 wide, cars fighting every little gap. And right now, Tuan Tran leading the field back through turn 1 after starting this race. He started in third position, so already seeing things shuffled up with the drafting in play.
But how about with all that fighting, we had 54 drivers take the grid, 51 make it around cleanly. We only lost 3, and really that's a pretty good percentage for attrition with the very first season, as we have a pass for the lead right now. Very first race of the season with a lot of newcomers. One more time, they fly in diamond formation now up front.
And speaking of newcomers, we got one making a play on the lead here, Diego Francisco. on the outside, getting ready to look on the outside through the carousel. I said you could make a move through here. He's trying to prove me right, except Hero Num's fighting back on the inside.
Then back behind them in 2x2. It looks like the start of the race right now, a rolling start. That's Tran, and another driver out there is Brame. Like, look at that, they ride 2x2x2, working through 6.
And I don't think that...
Num got a little bit of a touch, but he's okay. Go ahead, Adam.
I was going to say, I don't think that that's going to calm down anytime soon here. So let me just tell you, the 3 drivers that were involved in incidents that are off the track right now, Didier Schmidt, Paulo Preto, Austin Espetti, did not make it around for lap 1 if you're fans of those guys. But man, intense action out there at Watkins Glen.
We'll try to get back to the back part of the field a little bit later. But right now, we got some contact. Let's see if we can find... Oh, it's a big one. How about we drive with Margarita? He was involved in it. Maybe the biggest one of all. Ricardo Margarita. And Margarita takes a tumble. About 4 or 5 cars involved in this one. We'll get it on the replay. Now, it really doesn't start with Margarita. It starts with the cars that are up in front of him. That was Padavani gets together with Engstrom. Watch those 2 cars. And then Margarita's the 3rd car in. He goes into the wall. He rolls. He comes out and then gets collected by another car and then tumbles.
Yeah, that car that collected was Oliver Kempset, and actually Oliver ended up stuck in the wall after all this as well, kind of like Michael McDowell there in that same part of the racetrack in the Cup Series a few years back. But some hard contact with a couple of guys out there for sure.
Oh, it's just the way they're racing. It's got to happen right now. The battle continues up front. One driver that is really struggling a little bit is the newcomer. He's in the red car, car number 48. You'll see him on the inside there. That's Diogo Francisco. He's got to earn his stripes.
One thing I'm noticing here, Soup, at least in the very early stages of this race, is that we've got a lot of guys that are moving positions and swapping positions and everything else, but we don't have a lot of big movers yet. A lot of guys are moving around in that same group that they kind of started the race in. So if some of these guys want to make some big moves, they've got to get the guys around who cooperate and start running single file.
We do have a new leader, though. Let's give him a little love. It is Patrick. I'll take a shot at this one. Trousset, I'll go with until I know better. It's my first time seeing him race. Maybe he'll get in contact with me. We'll get the proper pronunciation of that name. Right now, he was leading, but Vincent Bream has taken the lead a bit. These guys have opened it up a bit. They're about a second ahead of this next swarm of cars here. Num, Tran, Francisco, and Burns.
A unique opportunity here for these guys to go ahead and try to separate themselves out a little bit, and we also get an early chance here in this race to see if maybe 2 cars can do something together if they work together right and well. However, I do see that second pack led by Euro Num and Tuan Tran. I do think they're actually starting to gain on Vincent Brim and Patrick Press here just a little bit. So, maybe that 2-car experiment maybe not working out the way we want it to here so far.
Yeah, the only thing that would be in Trousset's and Bream's favor is there's a rookie in the mix back behind with Francisco who may not understand the rules. Let's look at Christopher Hancock. He just got punted into the wall. Let's see who got him. It looks like it was Diego Peters did the punting.
And Joachim Lundgren getting on the mic. Didn't sound like he was too pleased about it. He had contact with Jefferson Padavani also back there.
Yeah, there was another car off before that. May have cost these guys some concentration, and that's what happened. So we lose a few more. Oh my goodness.
Ooh, it looks like Neil Bamber's one involved going up at the top of the S's. Ah, man, big incident up there. I think it started when Neil Bamber got loose. Julian Ocean was running 3rd, though.
Yeah, Ocean got the worst of it. Collier involved in this one as well. Roman, I think, as well. Oh, some cars went flying. They took out 6 or 7 cars.
You know, that's just a part of the racetrack where I was saying earlier that most of Watkins Glen is wide. That is one
not
place
there.
that is not. And, a guy that races iRacing, by the way, maybe he watched GSRC broadcast. We're going to throw good well wishes to him anyway. Jeff Mosing, the actual real-world Pirelli World Challenge driver, hurt his back up there just a couple weeks ago in his Porsche, so it actually had to skip the rest of the season after already driving a week or two. It took a little bit to diagnose the injury, so get well wishes to him, but that was all because of an accident up in the S's in the Pirelli World Challenge race there, a real-world Pirelli World Challenge race there a few weeks ago.
Yeah, you start getting 1 or 2 cars sideways. Look at this coming at you. It's a pinata full of bees. You get 1 or 2 cars sideways in those S's. There's just not enough track space to go around. Who's out in front right now? Well, it is Vincent Brame. But look at this car side by side now. That's Numb on the inside, Broussais on the outside. This is the kind of race where I'm surprised to see Numb up there. Usually he likes to fall back and drop back a little bit and get out of the mix. Jacob Younger just blew an engine. He didn't hit anything on all the... he spun and the car gave up on him. And the stuff we've been seeing, that's probably one of the milder ones we've seen. And it looks like actually he didn't blow an engine. He's still out there racing, so that's good for Younger as we continue to watch this battle up in front. Our apologies to the mid-packers who've been racing clean. We really haven't had a chance to run down anything. It's been watching the battling up front and then covering the attrition happening farther back. We'll get to you guys in a minute. They start to race single file out finally, Adam.
Yeah, they really do, and you can see what happened. Those 2 cars between the concept. In fact, Patrick Price, speaking of him, getting ready to make a move here on the lead for Vincent Brem, and look who's going to go ahead and try to follow him, trying to make a play now, get back on the podium. Euro, no, but also Tuan Tran. Tuan Tran's going to try to go up the middle right here. He's got newcomer Diego Francisco right behind him. Head off into the carousel. Tuan Tran lets off a little bit, and that was kind of a chain reaction because Piers Cocky and David Third Degree Burns also had to lift off the gas, and then Patrick Cristo, newcomer, in the lead.
Now you look at that and you're thinking about the newcomers. So far we haven't. Francisco's done a good job, and we can talk. This train goes all the way back. We haven't talked about Johan Vanderbilt is in the mix now, racing back there. He's in the train, as is Bastian Hausmann, the caboose. A 9-car train up front.
Yeah, we started that first lap with only having 3 cars out of this race, and since then, pit road is a junkyard full of potentially good Skip Barber parts, but you're going to have to do some digging to find them.
How about we drop back? We're going to take a shot at this. Run back some of the other cars. 10th position, Ludwig Sauer. He just got around Christian Mies. Mies a newcomer as they run 10th and 11th. Back in 12th position, Mikael Engstrom. There, that's a great shot. Look at that Dougie Beer camera shot there, as you can see how far they were behind the leaders. Now look how they race by themselves as they move into 3 wide. And Adam, 3 wide, that's not as unusual in these skippies, as we've seen that more often than not.
No, it's almost a very weird. I almost want to call it a phenomenon.
It is.
You know, with these Skip Barber cars in the draft, is especially these packs of 3. You've seen it already in the lead pack, also, where I believe, speaking of the lead pack, Diego Francisco, another newcomer, taking a turn at the lead. But you'll see 3 cars, and they'll fan out, and the car in the middle is the one that has the biggest run, and they'll shoot up to the front. It's almost like a 3-person version of leapfrog that you kind of got to navigate, and if you can do it well, you're going to be pretty dang quick. But you know, some of these guys have figured out pretty well, with Euro Num and Tuan Tran being 2 of the best at it. Already seeing some guys come down pit road, including Mikael Engstrom. Not sure if this is for damage or pit stop. Maybe a little bit of pit strategy on his part to try to do something here.
Yeah, I would think this is probably in the front part of the window. It's a 2-stop race. Remember, we're going 70 minutes here. Let's go up front again, though, because here we have another 3 wide. I hate to leave what we're looking at, but here we go. We're on it. Yeah, and now this is Priss who gets the spot. Now, oh my goodness, Didier Smith. I talked about it. Here comes the train, Didier. Where are you going to put your car? This is the lap traffic ahead, about 20 car lengths up.
Well, he's going to have to make a decision pretty quick about where he wants to put his car because they're catching him in just a flat-out hurry. Of course, Didier Schmidt was one of the ones that was involved in that first lap incident. He is 6 laps down right now, running in 52nd. These leaders are catching him pretty much like he's standing still.
Now, it would help Didier if the guys behind would give him a little assistance and get single file. But what happens so often, and I can say this again as a back marker, you're up there, and they start to take advantage of you as the leader goes around. Then they said, I get a little bit of draft. It gets pretty scary. Let's stay on this and see how it works the first time around. Here they come.
While they're finishing up catching him here real quick, I'll make a point. Out of 54 cars that started this race, we've got 31 still on the racetrack. Oh, they're going to catch him in the S's here. I'll recap in a minute.
1, 2. I think we're going to be okay. I like what he's doing here. He's far enough off the base. 3, 4. But look what that's Tuan Tran getting behind him, getting a tow. Then he comes over. 5. They go around 2 wide. That's not fun. 1 more to go. Oh my goodness. Let's give Didier a bear claw at the next back marker United meeting. And how about we put him in the comfortable chair up front, the recliner? That was some good work as a back marker.
All right. Well, hey, what I was getting at is we started 54 cars. We've got 31 actually still actively running in this race right now, I believe. There are some names that are out that you're going to recognize. Guillermo Barros, Neil Bamber, Tony Hayes is running a problem, Andy Bonar, Frederick Neptune, Mark Figueras, and Roger Prickin is out of this race. Kevin Mills. So definitely attrition taking its role here at Watkins Glen today.
Kevin McKnight comes back out, but with a ton of damage. How about we go back to 12th position, Adam? Why don't we run down some of these guys? This is Hoffladason being challenged by Liam Quinn right now. Oh, Quinn gets that done easily.
Yeah, this is the other battle. I mean, these guys have been going tooth and nail just as much as that lead pack has as well. Hey, and let's go up a little bit in front of these guys too. Actually, real quick, Ludwig Sauer making a big play. Ludwig Sauer just taking 10th away from Christian Messi like he was standing still. So some good racing right there. Christian Messi's going to go ahead and try to return the favor here, going down the backstretch.
This was once the 3-car battle that Mikael Engstrom, I believe, was in, but he pulled out of it. So now Messi back up in front. Sauer in 11th. And then they have the 5-car train following them. Right now led by Rugenbrink, Hoffladason, Quinn, Valverde in that mix. Henrik Kamara. There's a guy that we've come to love. He's doing real good, running back there in 16th. Coming at you.
Well, you got to think, though, that we are now 11 laps into this race. We're about, just a little bit past 15 minutes into it also. We've already seen a couple of guys come down pit road. Mostly guys are going to be trying to make some pit strategy happen here. The big question is going to be, when are the leaders going to be coming down pit road? We see right now we got a newcomer, Patrick Priest up front. David Burns not far behind him. David Burns running that gray Skippy here right now, and another newcomer, Diego Francisco, behind him, and then Vincent Brem. One person you don't see right now in the top 5, in fact you got to go back to 8th position to find him, is going to be Euro Num, as we're going 3 wide down the backstretch, about what we expect. So Euro Num, but we've known that pit strategy, he finds something on pit stops. And it'll be very interesting to see, once this lead pack starts to come down pit road, where does Euro Num shake out, being a little bit further back right now.
You can almost feel Euro Num lift there as they started to go 3 and almost 4 wide. He knows he's fast enough to get there. He's just sitting back there with enough room that he can make a reaction and avoid any problems. He'd rather be able to see the issue in front of him and try to get out of it than have somebody catch him from behind or from the side that he has no defense for.
Oh, I'm pretty sure he still has nightmares over what happened here 2 seasons ago. So that's very much on his mind. And I think you're right. I think he's just giving himself a little bit of cushion out there as well. One guy that these guys are going to be catching here, we might have to deal with lap traffic in another lap or 2 with this lead pack. They're going to be coming up on Jacob Younger here pretty quick as well. He got some damage earlier on. Jacob Younger's at the top of the S's. The lead pack right now about halfway up the S's.
Now keep in mind, they put a new rule in a couple seasons ago. You get a bonus point for actually leading a lap. Let's go up front again. 3 wide. The peanut butter in the sandwich right now, that is Vincent Bream, and he squirts through. Actually, more like the toothpaste in the tube, I guess. He squirts out onto the brush as they go down into the carousel.
One thing, Soup, I got to say that we're going to have to ask the Absolute Beginners League officials if they keep track of records like lead changes and how many leaders they've had per race, because there's a pretty good chance we're going to be breaking those records here today.
Yeah, there's about 3 or 4 passes for the lead per lap.
We've already, I think we've had like 6 or 7 guys already lead a lap, so it's nuts out there.
Let's talk championships as far as team-wise. You have 2 stupid dogs up there. Remember, they already have 2 championships between them, and that's the teammate of Vincent Bream running first right now. And where would his teammate David Third Degree Burns back in 4th position? And of course, one of the teams they always fight with is those brightly colored Mama Jean racing machines. You can see Tuan Tran racing in 5th, and his partner back in the black and purple car of Bastian Hausman in 9th. We'll cover more of those team championships as the seasons go along. We get a little more comfortable with how the silly season is played out and who's where's. We have another pass for the lead. And looks like Chris is going to take the spot. Let's wait for this to settle down a bit, and then we'll go back and we'll see if we can find somebody else to follow. We'll give a little highlight to, but I just got a bad feeling about the way this is going right now. Oh, look at this. We haven't heard much from the fan belt in a long time. That's Johan Vanderbilt. Made it all the way up to 2nd. He's in the 18 machine. Good to see the fan belt back mixing it up with the big boys.
Not just mixing it up, but just being an absolute contender here so far today. And right now, I mean, any one of these guys in the top 9 of this lead pack have a chance to win this race here for today, and that's how they're attacking it right now. And I'm telling you, this first round of pit stops might be something else to watch.
And what Errol Numb, what he likes to do, he's notorious for coming in early, so he gets out of the mix. But Adam, I'm not sure he can afford to do this, because even though he's the pole sitter, I don't think he's fast enough to race by himself.
No, we talked about that in the pre-race show, that these guys right now, we have a measured time difference between being by yourself and being in a draft. And it's almost 2 seconds. And I don't even think that's enough for Euro Numb, the great guy that is Euro Numb, to be able to overcome that. So, no, he's got to have a drafting partner.
All right, let's go back. How about we jump back to record to 19th spot? Let's give these guys a little love if we can. Looks like the front guys are behaving. Mark Riddick in a battle here with Andy Moore. They go side by side. Watching the whole thing is Rod Adams. And as I say that, Adams is going to try to squeeze by on the grass. Careful. And they go 3 wide, and backing out of there wisely is kind of that blue and yellow machine. That was Andy Moore, ducks out of it. But now he fights back. The 2 guys on the inside back there is Edgar Sanchinelli. Cooper Collier running in 20 seconds, tucks in.
Well, here real quick, leaders catching lap traffic once again, going up through the S's. They are now back on the rear wing of Jacob Younger. I'll keep an eye on that and see if anything happens.
I think we'll go there. Lap director's there. Now, Younger, though, this is a little tougher. His car is not healthy right now. So this is a little tough. The car has to behave. Now, here, look at this. There you see Vanderbilt tucking out. Ah, you hate that as a back car. Come on, guys. Let's do it single file. I'm over as far as I can. They go 3 wide. They get through 4 of them. And now Younger is in the mix. He stays on the top side. That leaves room for Tran to get underneath them, and now room for Diego Francisco can get there. Cocky racing in 7th, still yet to get around the back marker. Errol Numb in 8th. Happy to give it. In fact, Numb is the last car around. Well, we still have Bastian Hausman back there as well. Oh, and see, look at that. How you can see how Younger gets a little bit loose but he's able to save it. Whew.
Yeah, I think Hausman lost a little bit of time. I think he backed out of the throttle just a touch. But, hey, another incident here on track.
Oh, he just got loose. This is Andy Moore, just got loose. Boy, he was lucky. He was in that battle that we were just looking at. He didn't collect anybody. Watch this. This is a self-spin. He tries to take it to the inside, and then the rear end comes around on him. You know what that felt like? That felt like me in the spec Ford Racer there with a kind of, I think he was on the brakes and it's got a little bit of the front end got heavy and the rear end came around. Up front again.
Yeah, this time around up front, those guys, they were 3 wide even on exit of the S's there. So they were definitely setting themselves up to make some action going down the backstretch, and they did. One thing to note, just saw going through the carousel, Tuan Tran looked like he got tightened up just a little bit. He was able to save the car, keep it out of everything, but potentially maybe have to watch to make sure his handling stays okay here.
Who's up in front right now? Well, it's Vincent Bream. But here comes the fan belt. Let's give the fan belt right now. Let's call him the leader. And I can call that for about 15 seconds until Vincent Bream takes it back. Now the fan belt on the outside. Let's see if he can get a piece of the lead. And they're having too much fun, so wanting to join the party on the inside. Here he comes. That is, who is that on the inside there? That is Proust coming in.
And getting a report that something happened with Tony Matthews a minute ago, maybe possibly a self-spin, so, but not affecting the leaders here at this point. In fact, he's actually about a straightaway up from the leaders, along with the next pack that these guys should catch, which means that the next pack, it's just it. It's not going to be a single car this next time. It's going to be a pack that the leaders are going to be catching.
Let's stay on this up front. It's only a matter of time here till something bad happens. This time on the inside, it's Vanderbilt. In the middle is Brim. And the 3 cars continue to be the same guys as Proust comes in now making a move. Back there, Tran, after he had that little spin, racing in 4th. Burns in 5th right now. Cocky. Francisco, Numb. And still, the guy at the very back, and he's been at the back the whole time. You'll see him on this shot is Hausman.
Hearing something maybe happened to Liam Quinn or Roger Pricken just a minute ago. Roger Pricken's car's all beat up. Those are 2 guys that we know.
I hate to see that Quinn is Mr. Excited, but must have happened a while ago as Pricken's car has been in the pits for a while.
Okay, so anyway, but these guys still fighting hard out there. We're going to look at right now on your screen, Vincent Brim. We're going 3 wide for the lead once again. These guys are getting braver with their moves. I tell you what, especially now coming out of the S's, already trying to run 3 wide and getting those good runs going down the backstretch.
They race 2 by 2 right now. The next car on the hit list for them is Daniel Barrett running in 43rd position. Make sure he is not even on the lead lap. We only have 27 cars on the lead lap right now. The last one being Joachim Lundgren. So the cars they are actually getting around are guys that have had trouble. Lundgren running. Why don't we jump up to there? We're looking at our director read my mind. This is a little battle between Lundgren and Tony Matthews. That's for last place. The last car's on the lead lap. Whoa, and there is what you call commentator's curse. Well, but he gathers it up. Thanks, Tony. I didn't need another one.
And Tony self-spun there just a few minutes ago as well. And these leaders are going to be up on him here before too long as well. And that's the last thing these leaders want to see is to have an incident like that right in front of them.
We are 43 minutes of racing left. 70-minute race. When they get to the 35-minute to go mark, that'll be halfway. I don't think they're going to be able to get to that one because if they could, that would mean a 1-stop. So I got to think out of the pit stops here in the next 2 or 3 laps.
I'm thinking so too. And remember what we talked about in the pre-race. These guys, they're going to have to communicate on their pit stops. Otherwise, people are just going to be stopping dead in their tracks in turn 7 to make that pit entry.
Sanchinelli pulling in to pit lane. Let's see if that was... Yeah, that's a scheduled stop for him. We have 20 cars yet to pit that are ahead of the leader of all the cars who have pitted, which is Mikel Engstrom. Remember, Engstrom made that stop early. I think he's good to go with one more stop. Engstrom racing in 21st position right now, still on the lead lap, and a stop done. Okay, here we go. The rookie has come in.
Oh, all by himself. Don't sing. Don't start singing, Soup.
Well, you know, that's one of the things that you... one of the advantages to being in the back. I'm not going to sing, don't worry.
We appreciate that.
But yeah, you know, that's a little bit of rookie hazing, I think. I think Errol Nunn might have got a little respect if he pitted from the front, but right now they might be happy that there's one more guy they don't have to deal with. So he comes out. The good news is I don't think he's going to have much traffic in front of him, unlike the leaders that are going to have to negotiate with what was coming up. All right, Tony Matthews getting out of the way. Boy, basically just pretty much taking the car out of gear and letting everybody go by. Nice job. You know what? That's good timing. He saw what was coming up and he wanted to get it done before they got into the technical section. Nice job, Tony.
Yeah, here in Vincent Brem, Johan Vanderbilt coming in. Vincent Brem really had to get on the binders to avoid Johan Vanderbilt there.
This is good news for Proust if he can manage to catch back up with these guys so he has a dancing partner.
He's got to be on the throttle now because one thing's for sure, Vincent Brem came in and Johan Vanderbilt, and they can dance with each other. So yeah. It's going to be, how good of a pit entry did Priest have over those two? It might just be coming down to pit entry here at this point.
He's just working his way through 7 right now, heading back out onto the main straight. The other guys are still in their stalls. Vanderbilt starts to roll. He's coming out. I think he's probably going to be able... There goes Bruce, long gone. Well, you know, it's kind of a short exit, so he passes him on the track, then he comes right back out. I forgot how Watkins Glen kind of has that inside line. The pit stop exit guys can make up a little group. So, Proust and Vanderbilt come out racing next to each other.
And Vanderbilt didn't have the greatest of stops. I mean, Vincent Brem got out way ahead of him. And I really think that actually worked out for Patrick Priest to be able to have Vanderbilt back there. And now they're going to have a little 3-car pack here until everybody else comes in.
And they're going to be able to tie in there with Bream. What they don't want to do is be forcing around too much. Or you want to be putting in hot laps. Pitting in, I hear from someone now. Looks like Burns has gone around again. Tran has gone around. Cocky's gone around. Francisco and Num. Houseman, none of the leaders come in. Now, that next group comes in, though. Quinn, Rosenbrink, Valverde come in, as does Camara. They were the guys racing back in about 10th spot.
Well, I'd have to say right now, we got 39 minutes left on the clock here. 35 minutes is halfway. Of course, the question now people want to start asking is if one lap is possible. I think that it still would be something that would be hard pressed, and I think that these leaders are going to be coming in here in the next lap or two. Now, what that's going to mean is the second pit stop is probably going to be real quick. I mean, it's going to be a splash and go, and that might be about it at this point.
Here's the good news for Vincent Brem. His last lap was about equal pace with the leader, so he's not losing any time. And he doesn't have traffic up there. Those guys just trying to race as fast as they can right now. And let me correct myself. It is now Pierce Cocky has decided he's going to be the leader for a while. Shortfield comes in.
There we go.
Oh, look at
There's
this.
Everybody in.
Get it sorted out, boys.
I've got to look, but I'm not sure. Okay, Pierce Cocky barely made it under the speed limit. How about that pit party right there?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now what's interesting is Numb, who's at the back of the line, he'll get to go all the way to the front, and he takes the first stall.
And we've seen before where that can really help him out. But, you know, the big thing is that all these guys are going to be able to come in groups. Now the question is, when is Patrick Priest going to come around here? Coming onto the front straight now, you can see that on your screen. I'm watching Piers Cocky and the group here, waiting for them to start rolling off. And there they go. They're starting to roll. There goes Patrick Priest. They're all going to come out right next to each other again here.
All right, it looks like living up to his name, Short Phil. I think he might have short filled as he's first out. Piers Cocky is your leader. Boy, look at the gap that those three guys who pitted early have made up. They come out 2, 3, and 4, and the guys who decided to pit late, Francisco, Tran, Burns, Houseman was Numb. Numb is at the back again. He's got some work to do.
Yeah, and don't forget, Piers Cocky right now, he's essentially all up there all by his lonesome while he's got that pack of 3 that pitted a little bit ago right behind him. There's a very good chance he's going to get gobbled up, and they're going to be coming up on some heavily damaged lap traffic here in just a minute, the likes of Josh Brain that they'll be getting past here in just a few minutes.
But remember, with a 2-stop race, the strategy is a little different. As let's look at Jacob Lunger. I think this is right now. Maybe we can get a look at this one. I think it was pretty recent. He just put it in the wall. It's really not, if we can't find it, that's fine. He was racing farther back. Probably not the most significant thing to follow up on. There's Younger. I think his day is over. Just to follow up on pit strategy show, Adam, with 2 stops, you don't necessarily have to put in a full load of fuel. You can take what you need on your next stop.
Right, and that might be what Piers Cocky's counting on, because I'm almost convinced he didn't take what he needed to, at least compared to what everybody else is. It's got to be a strategy play on his part, and so far it's working out for him here as he's able to get around the lap traffic of Josh Brain. It looks like he's holding up the second group just a touch. And now they're going to be coming up by Andy Moore and Roger Prickin here next.
They get 4 cars underneath him. Brain doing a good job. It's a pretty car that he is racing. It's a nice blue and white machine. Little ways back now. Houseman, Burns, Tran, and Francisco, the next 4 guys, they got to get a move on.
There we go.
Yeah.
Brem is now caught up to Piers Cocky. Brem's going for the lead. Yeah, that second pack has really kind of fallen back quite a bit. Euro Numez as well. Ooh, they just passed him. Josh Brain just had a moment going into turn 5, and I think he's just going to take the gravel around here. He's coming back on track. So that happened right in front of the leaders, so that's good that he was able to just keep it off track, realize where he was, and not try to do anything like pull it back onto the track. But man, I'm shocked here at just how far back Euro Numb has found himself compared to everybody else. I mean, that's a full 1.5 seconds back that he is from that pack right now.
Andy Moore used the runoff area, let the guys around. With the first 4 guys, he has 4 more to go here. Houseman, Burns, Tran, and Francisco. You know, this is kind of a fun way for us to highlight the back markers there. We'll just highlight them as the leaders come around. Give everybody a little screen time. Yeah, Errol Numb has got to be a little bit worried now as he is losing touch. Boy, that interval, it's from Burns or whoever's going to be the car in 8th position, if I can get a timing and scoring to give me a time. It's a long way back. Look at that. You can see the gap. Look at Numb there on the screen right. The guys he's chasing screen left. He's got to hustle.
You know, the guy that really wants to see this right now sitting second out there, that's Piers Cocky, because if that second group is out there and they stay behind like that, if he ends up having to take just slightly more fuel than everybody else, he's going to be right back there with them. He's still going to have dancing partners and be able to come away with a fantastic finish today, maybe even more. So Piers Cocky, I think right now has himself in fantastic position, a great way to get some track position without having to do any kind of dancing to do it.
That was Roger Pritkin in the yellow car there that you saw get out of the way. He let the first 4 by. Now he's got the next group to come by. Oh, Joachim Lundgren in that mix as well. That's the purple and black machine of Tuan Tran as he goes to the left of Lundgren and to the right of Prickett. Those back markers leave the center line open. 1 to the right, 1 to the left, 1, 2, 3, and all 4 get through. And they do it. Boy, what great racing so far today. Knock on plastic imitation wood.
That's all right. I got real wood over here. How's that sound?
And Num continues to fall. You hate to count him out, Adam. It's just, you can't do it, but you got to start to worry if you're from Estonia that your countrymate's having some trouble right now. And as close as this series is, a 9th place result, that's almost a DNF.
It really is. I mean, it's going to have the same kind of effect almost, but either way, I mean, it doesn't put him in a good position to overcome with having a short season here, and especially with some guys, new guys that look like they're going to be challenging up front here. So, entirely new season, entirely new players. Go take back a look at Euronum's car, see if it's still clean. His car looks clean, so I don't see any kind of damage on it that could be causing him to slow down. I think right now it's just the simple fact that he's having problems with keeping up with the draft. Now, the more those guys maybe get side by side in front of him, the more he might be able to do. But right now, Euronum is not exactly in the position he wants to be.
What I'm going to do right now is set the stage, but Director, I'm going to do this quick, so you're not going to be able to follow all the cars here. You have 4 cars up in front in a battle. That's Brame, Priest in that battle as well, and Cocky and Vanderbilt. Then you have a break, you get to the next 4-car battle, and that's Hausman, Tran, Burns, and Francisco. Then you got that large gap that we've been talking about, back to Errol Nunn, but he's beginning to close it up a little bit as he starts to get onto the back of the guys he's trying to chase. Now, how about Mikael Engström? Remember, he took that early pit stop. I think he's in the window right now to go one more from here. He's racing all by himself in 10th position. How about we go back a little bit farther, we get to Ludwig Soer in this battle with Liam Quinn. Remember, these guys were battling. Quinn took an early stop as well. They're back together. Oh, let's go back to Hofland-Dazen right now. Who's loose? Just avoiding him is Messe. Oh, my goodness. He was in 13th spot. I appreciate him spinning before I actually got to him, so I didn't get the curse on my conscience. He was racing in 13th.
And there was another car back there. It's turned around. I think I might know who it is. I'm waiting for confirmation here. It looks like Tony Matthews lost it again in response to that. Also, I think he saw him getting loose and had to take evasive action. And of course, Tony Matthews has been fighting a loose race car himself here today.
So what does that do to Hofland-Dazen? He was racing in 13th position. He's fallen back 6 spots to 19th. Let's move up from him then and see who's racing in front of him. Kendrick Kamara in 18th spot is trying to run down Timothy Roman. They race for a battle for 17th. Also in the mix, Rodrigo Ferreira. So a nice 3-car battle for 16th spot. Let's go up to 14th and 15th. This is Rugenbrink, side by side with Valverde. And I think that takes care of everybody in about the top 16 or 17.
Now, Jal Verde there, he's another one of those guys that showed speed a couple of times last season. So another one of those guys I want to keep an eye on here for this year. Or this season, rather.
Okay. Here he comes again, doing the early stop. Engström is in. He's good to go. He was racing, I believe I called him in 10th spot. Maybe sacrificing a little bit of speed for being able to race by himself and not have to worry about what's going on around him. Look at that as they come at you. Who is that car up in front? Well, that's a newcomer, Tommy Tao. Two by two behind him, though. Tommy, they're coming, and right now they're using all the track. Now they get it sorted out. You know, the secretary at the Backmarker United meeting, she has to go out and get an extra order of bear claws because some great work from Backmarkers today. Here they come.
Ooh, Vincent Brim
Wow.
doing a little bit of lawn mowing out there. I actually think he gained time doing that.
They have it single file. Let's see where Tao puts the car. Tao gives him a left side, says go left. He's going to keep that car to the right. Look at this, though. They come up right behind him, getting a little bit of a tow. Just keep that car going straight. They'll find their way around. And the first four get by. This time it's going to be a little harder. Let's see if he can get through the carousel before the next batch gets here. And I think he will. Meanwhile, I don't want to make it sound passé, but up front there's a pass for the lead. Ho-hum as Vincent Bream takes it over from Priest. Vanderbilt in third, Cocky in fourth. Tao doing a pretty good job of sticking with the leaders here. Tommy qualified. In fact, this is the first really legitimate pass of a lapped car. He was on the lead lap. This was not a guy who had damage. So that makes 23 cars on the lead lap.
I'm just really impressed by the top four here after the first round of pit stops, how well they're working with each other. I don't think I think they've been able to keep that gap going, just solidly, right, and not moving one direction or another with that second pack of cars. And you got, I'm not discounting Vincent Brem or Vanderbilt or Piers Cocky at all, and newcomer Patrick Priest, but you got the biggest names in this league in that second pack of car, and right now they're holding them off.
Well, the choreography up front has been outstanding. They're leapfrogging each other, but they're not costing anybody any time. They're not going too wide through technical sections. They're getting the pass done, and then when they have to be fast, they get in single file and they run. The interval, we got to give you this, the interval from Cocky in fourth, back to the guy leading the second pack right now, which is Burns, is just 2 seconds. So we'll mind that gap. It's probably closed down a little bit now as Burns is able to get a little bit of a tow off of Tao. That was fun to say. And look at the driver in ninth. In the familiar number 78 machine, that is Errol Numb. All the worrying that we put in, well, he's right back up with the big boys right now. Still not in the front pack, but he didn't get left behind. Burns' interval now 3 seconds to the guys up front. That can't be right. Is my timing and scoring right? Oh, it is. And growing 3.5 seconds now as they go 3 wide.
Those guys have just coming off the S's there. They just had a fantastic run with that lead pack, and I'm telling you, if these guys are able to come in and have a good round of pit stops here, you're going to be seeing a pretty exciting run to the finish here, because these guys are racing so hard out there, but at the same time so clean, giving each other plenty of room and doing it smartly.
Well, let me say this about pit stop times. The front guys are all around 20 seconds or less. The back four are 21 seconds or more for the most part. I almost wonder if the back guys maybe took a touch more fuel. The front four may have short-filled. This may all come out in the wash, as my mom used to say, and we may end up with 9 guys altogether after this last pit stop is done.
Which would be a change of pace, because, well, we've seen it before where pit stops really start to break these guys up. So, and that just hasn't happened here so far today, but we do, at least as our best guess, do have at least one more round of pit stops to go.
Continue. It's so hard to get away. You just don't want to leave the battle, because there's only one mistake away from a 4-car accident taking out all the top runners, but man, They continue to race clean, which includes a couple rookies in there that are really earning their stripes. And we're talking about guys up front that are running like Chris, and the other one is Diego Francisco. See if we can find where Francisco is from. Iberia, so he must, I'm going to assume that's either Spain or Portugal for him. And then our other newcomer, Chris or Bruce, we'll find out the pronunciation on that one. He's from Diach. Maybe Germany, perhaps. Perhaps Belgium.
Here
That would be Benelux. So no, he's in that Germany, Austrian, so yeah, or Switzerland one. So we'll find out more about these drivers and get to know them.
Yeah, Tony Matthews just had another self spin out there, because this time he did it in front of a couple of cars that had to take evasive action, including Roger Pricken, Daniel Barnett, and Guillermo Barros, and also Michelle Rugenbrink back there as well with João Verde in that pack. So I got a little bit interesting back there for a few.
Those of you hearing me sound like I'm talking to myself, I had my director in my head there. Sometimes I forget to remember you guys can't hear him.
Well, we just always just assume you're talking to yourself there, Sue.
All right, Rudenbrink comes in. He was having a nice run on the lead lap. "21 minutes of racing to go. They can pit any time now." Let's give you that interval from Cocky, who is running well. Actually, it's Proust right now, back to the driver in 5th. Oh, look at this. They're coming. I think they're a little closer now. It's under 2 seconds. Hausman leading the second train has got it under 2. Right at 2. Honestly, maybe if I was those guys, I might see if I could get the pole sitter to get out in front, maybe. Let's see what Errol Num can do. Right now, how about 3 wide back in? You look at them as they start to chase them down. I don't know if that's the best way to do it, although they're 3 wide in the front group as well. How fun. Now, you know, Adam, honestly, this type of racing doesn't play into Errol Num's advantage here. He's so fast. It's hard for him to get away, and it's really it kind of levels the playing field for everybody.
It really does, and you know we always say in oval racing how the draft is the great equalizer. You know, because anybody can go out to Daytona and Talladega if they have a good clean day. They can have a really good finish, maybe even win the race. So, and you're seeing that here playing out on a road course and Skip Barber cars as well. And I'm not saying that any of these guys are any more or less equal to Euro Num, but I mean we are seeing we're seeing a newcomer leading a lot of laps. Newcomers leading a lot of laps. We're seeing Piers Cocky up there with Vincent Brehm and Johan Vanderbilt. And what name you don't see in the top 4 right now, or the top 5 for that matter, is the likes of Tuan Tran or Euro Num. And it's definitely changing the complexion here to start the season, already having some of those guys maybe down just a little bit in points.
Boy, every time I think that they are starting to make a run, the back group loses ground. And now who are they squeezing in this time up in front? Bastian Hausman takes it. He comes from 3 back. But they're not racing nice up front, so the gap now is down to, once again, under 2 seconds as they race 2 by 2 in the front. Single file in the backpack.
Hearing about some possible contact with Roger Pricken and Guillermo Barros in the back.
Let's drop back to 10th position and give a little love to these guys. This is Sawyer and Quinn. Yeah, it's a close battle, but honestly, it's not a ferocious battle. These guys are just putting in the miles right now. And they have quite a distance before they get to 12th place, which is Messi running all by himself. How about 14th? This is Roman, who just gets around Ferriera. Honestly, we hear so much about, gee, why don't you cover all the action in the back? Adam, this is one of the weird races where the action really has been up front for the most part. A lot of 2-car, 3-car tandems in the back that are real polite to each other. It's been aggressive up front.
It really has, and I think it's just with 2 cars a little bit easier to do that, and tango a little bit more. But when you're up front in these big packs, I mean, I just watched Pierce Cocky go from 1st to 4th. You have more dancing partners, so you have more dance moves that you have to perform. And I think that these guys up front are playing nice with each other, but you introduce more dance moves, it might not be as well choreographed as what it would be with just 2 cars.
We're getting a report that Camara had a spin. I believe he was still racing on the lead lap. Yeah, he was back running in 20th position. That's too bad for Hendrick. He's in 20th right now, still on the lead lap. Why don't we go ahead and go back to that driver in 20th position, as we have a couple big names back there. Camara, Hoffland Days and Racing in 21st. And then let's go ahead and drop back one more car, not position, but actually car, back to Edgar Sancinelli in 29th spot. What we're going to have this season is something, we're going to have a spotlighted driver. We're going to start it next round, and we're going to give a spotlight to Edgar Sancinelli. He's a veteran, most notably, Adam, noted for being the pace car driver in the All-Star event.
Oh, yeah, and it's become a tradition that Edgar Sancinelli will try to figure out how to flip the pace car at those special events.
Yeah. So I'm sure you're all happy to know that the number to know segment has been dropped, and we're going to replace that with something a little more pertinent, the spotlighted driver. So we'll give a chance to...
Soup's already said that he's going to do his homework. He's going to get pictures and screenshots of every time Edgar Sancinelli has flipped the pace car, and he's going to bring those up when we do the driver spotlight next week.
Sancinelli brings it in. It's really not an all-star race. It's not over until the pit car flips.
See, he knows you're talking about him, so he went ahead and pulled off, and now he's going to come up here and talk to you.
That's it. I think he actually might have hit something as he came in there. Let's go back up front, see what's going on up there. It is the rookie, Patrick Priest, up in front. Brem behind him. Coffee and Anvil. Go ahead.
I might be wrong, at least looking at it visually here. I think that second pack is starting to catch the lead pack. Not very quickly, mind you, but slowly but surely.
The numbers will support your proposition there. But again, every time I think they do, then they start to drop back again. It must be like fast and slow spots on the track. Meanwhile, 3 wide up in front. Which honestly, Adam, I'm thinking that is really not a bad... I think the 3 wide move, the guy from 3rd position gets a great run, and I think that saves him time. It's not silliness going on there. Okay, here we go. We're coming up now on Mikkel Rugenbrink.
Yeah, Michel Rugenbrink, another one of those guys that we talked about a little while ago. He's legitimately going a lap down here. He doesn't have a lot of damage and all that, but that also means he's a little bit quicker and can pose a slightly bigger headache as well. But he is going to move over here going down the front stretch, it looks like, and maybe let those guys by. But man, as soon as he moved out of the way, you could just look at Vincent Brem, who had all the air hit the nose of his car at once, and it looked like he hit a brick wall there for a second. He just slowed down so much compared to the guys around him. And don't look now, I think those guys are getting even a little bit closer in that second pack. Of course, they got to catch Michel Rugenbrink here at the top of the S's.
Well, actually, they're getting a little bit of a tow. This is going to work out well for him. I think Rugenbrink is going to clear the S's here. These guys will get a little bit of a pull off of him, and now he can easily get out of the way. They run right up the back behind him. And there they go as they continue to try to run down the front pack. Remember, though, one more set of pit stops to come. Rugenbrink, they couldn't quite get by him before they get to the carousel, but he takes that high line.
That car that you might have saw off the track there, that was Guillermo Barros, who took the wide line, I think, in an effort to get out of the way of the leaders and ended up half spinning himself up on top of the track.
Oh my goodness. Look at this interval now, though, from fourth. Let's go to Cocky. And you can see, there they are. That's the shot you want. That's all your leaders. 9 cars pretty much in a row now.
Yeah, they're in the draft now. It's only a matter of time before they start mixing it up with this pack. You know, I don't know, like, if these guys have spotters or that kind of thing, I might be thinking, if I was in that top 4, go ahead and come in now and get a lot of momentum going and hope that these guys keep having to deal with lap traffic a little bit. But they're there, and you're getting ready to see some crazy action leading up here to the second round of pit stops.
That's poor Rob Al Adams there, who does another great job. He had the entire group to get around. He's got 7 by him now. He just needs Francisco to get around him as well, and the whole group gets by. Now Neagle has to be careful back there in the caboose, beginning to become uncoupled. I guess it's probably close enough here.
Johan Vanderbilt doing a little bit of landscaping back there, and that's going to cost him possibly 4th position as Euro Numb has found his way up into that pack, and now he's going to be charging back up through the leaders again here. And Vincent Brem and not Pierce Cocky, who's that back there
Priest.
with him? Patrick Priest. I think somebody was listening. I don't think this is a bad move at all. I think this is the right move. Come in now.
So now there's 7 up front as 2 pull off. And yes, all ye of little faith, relax as Errol Numb now races. Priest missed his stall.
Ouch.
What you have to do now, you just have to take enough fuel, and as soon as the guy in front of you, as soon as the bream goes, you got to go and just hope you can save. Oh,
man, and you know that hurts Vincent Brim too, because that takes away his dance partner. Hey, while we were watching the pit stops there happen, guess who led this race for just a little bit? Euro Numb went back to the lead. Now it was only a little bit. It's only a little bit back. He's going back now, but Euro Numb is charged back to the lead of this thing. Look at that, 2 by 2 by 2.
Things are heating up. And now you have to be careful about being 2 by 2. Whoa, guys, my goodness. To steal a line from my partner, Sean Ambrose, it's time to boogie right now. I think Arrow says, all right, time to race. And he finds his way up in front. Tucks in behind Kevin Mills. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cars go by. Kevin Mills wipes his brow, says that wasn't so hard.
Now, one thing that we haven't seen Euro Numb in a position to have to do in a while is nail a late race pit stop to do something big. In this case, stay up front in what's just a huge pack of cars here by comparison to what we normally end up with. So he still has a lot of work to do. All these guys still have a lot of work to do. There's still one more pit stop that they're going to have to go through.
Oops, let's go to Tommy Tao. We saw him. He had to spin right now, and he collects Christopher Hancock. These guys were back marker, but Tao was having a great race. They get together. Tao spins first. Hancock has nowhere to go, and they end up, those 2 guys will be done for the day. We're looking at Tommy. Car gets around on him here in just a minute. Oh, he takes it off onto the grass. Comes back out on the track, and again, nowhere to go. Hancock gets caught up.
A couple of heads-up driving back there by a few other guys, too, to stay out of it.
Vanderbilt comes in, pits all by himself. He's got to hope that he can pick up, who would be the guy? I guess we'll hope to pick up Bray.
Yeah, it'd have to be Vincent Brem at this point after Patrick Priest's problems. And you just think missing your pit stall for Patrick Priest is going to probably could potentially cost him upwards of 10 positions at the end of this thing.
Looking at Brame right now.
Actually, we're not seeing Patrick Priest on the leaderboard. He's actually ended up a lap down.
He had that horrible stop, I assumed. I don't think it would have cost him the whole
No, and he's disconnected. He is done for the day. And his car was torn up in pit road. Something happened to Patrick Priest here a little bit ago. Trying to find it.
Vanderbilt comes out well in front of Bream. They're not going to be able to help each other. Leaders coming around. Go to 19th position real quick. Rob Adams. Have you ever seen those pictures of sharks with the little fish that follow them around? That's That's Rob Adams right now. He's been able to hang on to the shark, the little fish back there. What's he lapped?
I found what Patrick Priest's car, lap 43, going through the carousel. It looked like he had some sort of trouble and ended up with just a really torn up race car. I don't know if we're going to be able to get it, but definitely it was enough contact to end his day. Euro Num is in the pits.
Cocky, Hausman join him. So Vanderbilt's the guy we're looking for. Vanderbilt stopped really fast, 9.6 seconds. Our director's going to see if we can find the accident that took the rookie out. Not going to be able to find it. Let's go ahead, when we come back live, let's go ahead and look at Vanderbilt right now as he crosses the start-finish line. How does that compare to the guys who have pitted? He gets them, right? Am I looking at the right? Vanderbilt is out in front. Num comes out side by side with a lapped car of Kevin McKnight. So Vanderbilt is good to go if he has enough fuel. Num drops in 5th overall, but really 4th in the battle for the lead, or 2nd in the battle for the lead, and now Num is going to go ahead and go around Vanderbilt.
And you can just see the impact that not having a dancing partner with Patrick Priest's pit troubles, how much it hurt Vincent Brem.
Yep.
You know, he is all the way back there now, and Zero Num just a little bit high going through the carousel. And now these guys at least still have a dancing partner.
Yeah, basically it took both of those cars out of contention. And obviously Chris is out because of the slow pit stop and then the crash, but then Brem suffered. All right, so now it is Num, well, basically running in fourth,
Tran
but out
and
in front.
Burns on pit road.
That leaves the rookie still racing. Again, Diego Francisco staying out. Not sure about the wisdom of this move. Tran comes in, Burns comes in. These are veterans. They know how to take just the right amount of fuel. They are both rolling. Let's see if we can pick up Num. Here comes Num right now. I think there's a chance that Tran's going to beat him out. Tran's first to the racing line.
Beat him out by a good margin there.
As does Burns.
Yeah, Burns has him on his back end. But, you know, if you think about it, Tran's out there kind of in front by himself now.
Yeah.
He might be a sitting duck whenever they catch back up to him. And speaking of by themselves, Diego is out there now by himself as well, up in front of this race. And he's got to come in this time by if he's going to have any chance of staying with that lead pack.
He might be thinking, the farther I run, the better I can calculate exactly how much fuel I need. But right now, yeah, you've got to come in. I'm not sure what position he was in when they... there he comes in. All right.
Yeah, I just think you lose too much time running by yourself. So and now we'll see where Diego comes out here in relation to everybody else. He's getting ready to come down to his pit stall here. And we're looking at the leaders coming through turn 6.
Led by Tuan Tran as they're beginning to gather him up.
Turn 7, Diego Francisco is stopped.
And now Tran.
And now he's rolling. He's going to lose a lot of time.
We go up front. This is Scott Whitestein in front of the leaders right now. Tran is going to have to negotiate it. So what happened? We lost 3. It was a train of 9. It's now a train of 6. The pit stop got rid of a few.
Yeah, Diego Francisco is just there close enough that he might still be able to latch on, but he's got some work to do. As now, here we go, trying to get around Scott Whitestein here. It's really heating up.
I think Whitestein is going to be the savior for Francisco as it's going to slow these guys down. Francisco's going to be able to get back in the train, and we'll have 7 cars fighting it out. Whitestein,
these guys are going 3 wide, and they still got more lap traffic to work through. As Jefferson Padovani and Cooper Collier are running up in front of these guys.
Oh my goodness, I feel sorry for for poor Scott right now because he's got drivers. They're in a hurry. They're not being patient right now. My gosh, Burns and that was Burns who chucked right behind White Seat Cocky. They get around one more time. The back markers are negotiated, but look at that. Francisco is back in the hunt. 7-car train, 2 minutes, just under 3 minutes of racing to go.
Yeah, let's call this. I bet this is going to end up being maybe 2 to go here. Or no, this might be 3 to go, depending on how fast it takes them to come around. So, man, it's still anybody's race. I mean, seriously, the top 6 or 7 in this race still have a chance at this thing.
Collier and Padavati, get out of the way. The front 4 now starting to gap a little bit. Cocky has about a 7/10 second lead back to Burns. Burns is really going to have to burn right now to see if he can get back up with him. Meanwhile, up in front, it's the purple and black machine in the middle. He's got the Joker to the left of him. That's his partner, Bastian Hausman. Hello to the lead for Bastian Hausman. On the inside, in the clown position, that is Errol Num.
3 wide at Watkins Glen. The tail end of this race.
Cocky
and
back there.
Still trying to deal with lap traffic here while you're going 3 wide. It's just, wow.
3 wide through the carousel has lost.
Hey, don't look now. Francisco,
yep.
Diego Francisco is getting back up in the mix here.
Boy, he is right on the tail of the 23 car of Cocky. Looking for a way around. He's fast enough, just not enough traffic. Up in
Here's
front
Cocky
is
hit
Errol
the
Num.
curb just a little bit, shot him to the outside. All right, so we're going to have at least 2 more to go here. They're crossing the line just enough time. I don't think they got the white flag this time.
I don't think so either. I think we're going to go this one and one more. Num, Tran, Cocky, but then they're really battling out. At Francisco up to 4th. Burns, Hausman, Vanderbilt, who was just the leader just a few paragraphs ago. Side by side for the lead now. Tran making a move on the outside on Errol Num, but again, the position is open for the toothpaste. Squirt through the middle. Pierce Cocky, your leader now.
I don't think he will be here in another turn or 2, but he still might be at the end of this race.
I don't think he can win this from any farther back than 4th. I think if you're back in 5th, 6th, or 7th, you got to be worried to find a spot. But right now, Cocky is in front.
You stay in it. This is still, I still think this is anybody's race because running this close together, we've seen it before. Chaos can still ensue. You got to still be driving heads up. As we got a car in the grass back there. That's Johan Vanderbilt. He's back on track, but that cost him a lot of time.
Boy, he's really going to have to hustle now. He's got about a second back to Hausman. He's really going to have to work to get up there. The Vanderbilt, though, knows how to do it. They come across, they get the white flag. Here we go, boys and girls. It's the opening round of season number 12, and the absolute beginners way off in the grass is Cocky.
Landscaping.
Max Incident Cap be darned, as he is racing like a madman. Up in front, being chased by the Roland Estonian and Tuan Tran.
No dance partners now. No dance partners now.
Here we go. Cocky taking the defensive line. Here comes Num. That's going to leave the 3rd line open for Tran. Tran with the big run, and he has the momentum. Num out in front, but now Tran gets the move. Look at this, making the move behind Tran, trying to get there on the top. That is Francisco. Francisco with the momentum on the top.
Loose.
Tran is loose. He gathers it back up. He's still loose, and now he spins.
Really sends him around.
Oh, Num gets together. Num gets together with Francisco, but they keep going straight. The rookie is making racing for all he's worth. Squeezing through the middle is the room. Tuan tries to get back in the race. Num tries to squeeze off the battle. It's Num up in front. Cocky in 2nd. Francisco in 3rd. And I think that's how it's going to finish up. He manages to do it one more time. Give the win to Errol Num. Cocky gets 2nd. Francisco gets 3rd. Hausman 4th. Burns. Brand.
Wow.
And where did Tran get it back going? Vanderbilt gets it. Did Tran get it rolling?
He did not. He got stuck in the wall.
Oh. Quinn is going to get 8th. Let's quickly, before, but we're looking at the replay right now. Tran was, look at the car got loose. I thought he was going to save it, Adam.
Yeah, Burns got into him just a little bit once he had it gathered back up. You can't blame David Burns. He just had nowhere to go, and then just bad luck with where Tuan Tran hit that wall.
I thought he was going to be able to drive it back off the wall and hold the position. That's going to be, my gosh, that's going to move him down almost out of the points. Holy smokes, the Absolute Beginner League never fails to entertain. Round 1 of Season 12 is in the books. Let's take a short break, but we'll be back in a second to run down the entire finishing order, talk to some of the drivers, and put a lock on the gate. Back in a few. Welcome back to the Global Sim Racing Channel's coverage of the Absolute Beginner League's Formula Neagle round number 1 of season 12 from Watkins Glen. What we're going to do right now is show you a replay of a great battle for 13th as they come across the line here. This is Miguel Hofflandaisen in a battle with Rodrigo Ferreira and also Henrik Camaro. Just because it was so good, this is the very last lap. Hofflandaisen is going to get the best of this one of Ferreira, but it was really close. And that's the Camaro back there watching the whole thing, trying to find a way around. As they come around the last corner now, you can see that the run that oh, this is back a little bit. Here we go. We are way back. Okay, so it really starts to heat up as they get through the S's. We got a ways to go. We'll watch this whole last lap. While we talk about this, a darn good finish here. Pretty amazing that Aero Num, Adam, was able to get that win, even in a draft pack like he did.
He really charged up there through the field. I mean, what was it they used to say about Dale Earnhardt? You know, they could see the air, and I think Aero Num kind of did a little bit of that here today.
All right, look at this now. This is Hofflandaisen again as they make the move through here. And coming in is Vieira looking for any way around, and the car in the very back is Camara, who's trying to find a way around as we have plenty of this to show. Who gets the best one of this one? Look how close they are. And it just goes to show you the racing that's going on. Now they try to go 3 wide. Camara just has no room to get the pass made. Working around, what corner? This is a different angle. This is the last corner right here. So they come around here. Now the run from Ferreira as he thinks he has a shot at it. But they run out of time. If the start-finish line was only another 20 yards farther down, those 3 cars finished within 0.3 of a second of each other. And that was the battle for 13th, 14th, and 15th. Let's run down your finishing order right now. It was the Roland Estonian Aero Num inside. Started on the pole inside of row 1. He comes home in the top position. Pierce Cockey gets second. We're excited about this Diego Francisco. We want to learn more about him. We're looking forward to seeing him next time at Okayama. He gets third. Bastian Hausman and David Burns round out your top 5. The back half of your top 10, Vincent Bream, Johan Vanderbilt, who had some trouble there, fell off. Liam Quinn, 8th position. 9th goes to João Valverde, and 10th to Christian Messe. And there's one name that Adam gets to talk about that was conspicuous by its absence. Go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, of course, we were talking about the conspicuous, so you'll see here in a second. Mikael Engstrom coming home in 11th here for today. Timothy Roman. Didn't talk about Mikael Engstrom or Timothy Roman very much today, so they had good, quiet days coming home in 11th and 12th. Mikael Hofflandaisen back there. Rodrigo Capitello Ferrari, another guy that we talk about quite a bit that we kind of were able missing, except right there at the tail end with that fantastic finish for 13th. 15th, Henrik Camara, and then 16th position, the name that is missing from that top leader group, Tuan Tran. Just unfortunate for Tuan in what happened to him there, but such is racing sometimes. Rob Adams in 17th, Michelle Rugenbrake in 18th, 19th position going to Cooper Collier, and 20th, Mark Riddell.
During the race, we talked about when Aero Num was running 9th, how that's basically a did not finish position. Boy, Tuan Tran, again, it's only 7 races. He's got a lot of work to do to catch up those points. Blackjack, Joachim Lundgren, double duck spot, adding Andy Moore. Tony Matthews in 23rd, 24th to Ludwig Sauer in the quarter century markets, Jefferson Padovani. Kevin McKnight and Patrick Puis. Now, there's another one we're going to look forward to. He had a horrible pit stop that took him out of contention and then a mistake as he tried to get it back. He finishes in 27th. Somebody to keep an eye on. Tommy Tao was very impressive as a back marker and hanging under the leaders as they went by, 28th. Edgar Sancinelli going to be our spotlighted driver next week. You don't want to miss that. 30th position, Kevin Mills. Adam?
Yeah, of course, Edgar Sancinelli returning next time out to Okayama, where he has indeed flipped a pace car before. 31st position, Josh Brain. 32nd, Daniel Barnett. 33rd, Scott Whitestein. In 34th, Guillermo Barros. Andy Bonar coming home in 35th. Christopher Hancock, 36th position. Roger Prick in 37th, Jacob Younger, 38th. Richard Tam in 39th, and Neil Bamber in 40th.
There's a mirrored series that runs in the MX5s named the Tony Hayes Cup. And here's the namesake of that one, finishing in 41st position. Diego Priest behind him in 42nd. Leo Miranda and Julian O'Hay in 44th position. Analdo Petkov in 45th. 46th and 47th, Frederick Neptune and Mark Figueres. been hearing a lot about Neptune Planet 9. He's going to have they're found an extra planet out there. Can't wait to find out about that. Didier Schmidt and Ricardo Margarita in 48th and 49th, 50th position. Oliver Kemmerstadt, I'll round out the rest of these. Darren Kuhn, Michael Costantini, Paulo Prieto, and Austin Espedy. 54 drivers took the grid. My gosh. Okay, let's go ahead to the interview. Adam, I'm going to give you the honors. Is he up there? Is the Roland Estonian? He does it again. Let's talk to our winner, Errol Num. Go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, Euro, another fantastic drive for you here for today. A little bit of a different challenge. We always race on draft tracks sometimes, these Skip Barber cars, but today was definitely more drafting than others. How much of a challenge was it to fight the draft and be able to overcome some of the positions that you had to gain, going from 9th at one point all the way up to 1st?
I don't know. It was super easy to go 9th to 1st, so I don't know. It was easy.
All right, so it was easy. I like hearing that. A very clean entry also onto pit road. That helped you out quite a bit. As far as the entry to pit road, what was your strategy here? Were you planning on pitting with the rest of the pack there?
Yeah, I was just pitting with the pack and save fuel.
So we go to Okayama next. It's a track that you've had some success at in the past. What kind of comparison are you able to make between driving at Watkins Glen and driving at Okayama here in 2 weeks?
It will be, I think, much easier in the front because here it was super risky, and yeah, I think it will be easier.
Well, Euro, once again, congratulations on coming home with the win today. Fantastic run up front, and I imagine we'll be talking to you again coming up here in a few weeks.
Yeah, so.
Errol Num, our winner today, and out in front in his usual spot in the point standings when we come around to race number 2. Let's go ahead and talk to our second place finisher today. It's Pierce Cockey. Pierce, first of all, Congratulations on putting in the right amount of fuel.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know if it was the right amount or not. I didn't check to see how much I had left over, but yeah, it got me to the end, so that's good.
Worked out well for you. You had a piece of the lead. My goodness, nine car battle for most of it up front. You managed to stay pretty much in the front part of that pack.
I have no idea how. I mean, it's a complete lottery. So, Eero ended up winning, which probably wasn't a big surprise. But, I would have thought anybody could have won today. So to come second was a good result, I think, because, like you say, there were 9 of us or so fighting for the lead, really, and anybody could have done it.
Right. Now, I want to follow up on the point you just made. Anybody could have done it. And that's what Adam and I was saying, too. Anybody could have won that race. Anybody had the equal chance of winning that race. How is it that Errol Num manages to do it? I know he's fast, but it should be equal playing field for you guys. Do you have any clue?
It's his little Grip Hacks app that he's got, I think. It just gives him the edge. Gives him the edge over everybody else. So, we're trying to build our own. But we'll see. Maybe a few seasons' time we'll get there.
Well, congratulations on the second place, and you had a nice first pit stop, got you out in front. You did really well, and
I don't know how that happened, but yeah, that's good.
And you brought it home in second. Congrats! Good start to the season.
Yeah, thanks very much. Thanks, guys.
Pierce Cockey, your second place finisher today. Good start for him. He's been more competitive as the season go on. He's a real threat to win the championship. Who do we have up there? How about Bastian Hausman? He had a nice run. 4th place finish for the Mama Jean Racing driver. And go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, Bastian, another great race here for today. And crazy racing up front, swapping positions the entire race. And unlike some of the other draft tracks that we saw, you guys were able to stay together for most of the race, including the end. Walk us through those last couple laps from your seat.
Good evening. Yes, well, they were pretty intense. I tried to hold back a little because I don't know all the new drivers, and I was afraid they would crash, especially when you get heated in the last laps. So on the very last lap, I decided to keep a little gap to the front runners, and unluckily 2-1 got hit in that lap, and he also hit me, but my car didn't spin, so I could go on. And then David went out of fuel, I think, because I hoped up a finish like last season, but he just fell back, so it was 4th place, no more than that.
Well, and we're racing at Okayama here in just a couple weeks. It's not as much of a draft track. You think you'll be able to carry on some of the success you had here today to Okayama?
I hope so, because it's there are a few corners that are more technical, so maybe we can get a smaller pack to run away, because today we had 9 cars at the beginning, and it's better when you have 4 or 5 cars, then you can really get away.
Well, hey, Bastian, appreciate you stopping in and talking to us, and best of luck as you begin the new season.
Yes, thank you very much.
Bastian Hausman, your 4th place finisher today. Our last driver we'll talk to is one of our favorites. It's Michael Hoflandaisen. My goodness, 27th position in qualifying. Let's start there. What happened?
Yeah, I've been feeling sick the whole weekend. I have not been able to practice because I've been racing in real life, and I missed my last lap, which also was my fastest.
Got it. Well, we're going to jump from the very beginning, which was qualifying. We're going to jump right to the very end. How about that last lap battle you were having there with Fiera and Camara for 13th spot? Pretty intense.
Yeah, it was pretty intense. I don't really remember what happened, but it was great fun racing with him. It was nice and clean. And but I came out in front, which I think it's more important for the long run in the championship, as I didn't have too good of a race today.
Yeah, I think in a race like this, you just want to try to get some points, because a lot of top drivers, you find trouble, you end up with nothing. So 13th, that's an okay way to start your season. Could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, I also think in lap 4 or 5, I was in quite a big crash up the long back straight, which also damaged my car a little bit, so I couldn't push it all the way.
Yeah, I think we had that on the broadcast. Well, good luck to you the rest of the way. 6 more races to go from here as we move to Japan next time, so we'll watch you. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
All right, there you have it. As our interviews are done, it's always fun to talk to some of the drivers, see what they have to say. You got to love the interviews with Errol Num. How about he's confident, but just so subdued. We'd like to thank everybody at the Absolute Beginner League for organizing Formula Neagle and contracting with GSRC to broadcast it. Thanks to the companies, equipment, and software that you see on the screen right now that you hear on the broadcast. Our special thanks to Eric Ekholm and Casey Lalonde for providing the music that you hear on the broadcast. See the screen for how to contact each of them. Adam?
Yeah, and of course, next up for the Formula Neagle series, we're back for another season. Today was only round 1. We got round 2 coming up in 2 weeks. October 8th, Okayama Circuit at GSRC. We'll be there to bring you all the action. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, go ahead and head on over to our website, www.globalsimracingchannel.com. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel and Facebook at /Global Sim Racing Channel.
Finally, on behalf of the man whose voice you just heard, Adam Young, our director, Joe Pete, Zachary Czar, our spotter for today, and our camera artist, Dougie Beard, I'd like to thank all of you for watching. With that said, we're off to have fun storming the castle, so until next time, race clean, race hard, we'll see you on the track.